bonkers. This is a real trifecta for me. Hanging out with my parents, science, and my beau.
I think it is worth reckoning with the idea of white actors playing Black characters, even if it is just their voices. It probably is worth it for actors to reflect and say, am I really the best person to be playing this role?
Debate over race and representation in comedy isn't new. However, the introspection expressed by actors like Jenny Slate and Kristen Bell when stepping down from voicing animated characters of color is a shift in the conversation. As anti-racism protests have gripped cities nationwide, the comedy world hasn't been immune from a reckoning. Shows like 30 Rock, Scrubs, and The Office have pulled episodes featuring characters in blackface, and old clips of late-night comedians partaking in these racist tropes have returned to the spotlight and forced apologies.
I think that we have to really come to terms as a country with the extent to which Blackness permeates all aspects of our cultural world. It's all compressed into the blackface form and then distilled throughout the centuries.
In order to understand this particular cultural crossroad, we need to understand how the past plays out in the present.
When we're talking about blackface in the US, we're usually talking about a performance tradition that explodes in the early 19th century and becomes the most popular form of entertainment between the 1840s and the 1860s.
Blackface, specifically in the form of minstrel shows, evolved into what historians call the first truly American form of entertainment.
In the traditional minstrel show, you have the olio, which features a half circle of performers. They're usually singing songs.
Town racetrack 5 miles long.
It's often followed by the stump speech. That's a political, satirical kind of meditation on whatever are the current events of the day. And you have a roundabout in which you have the entire cast engaging in song and dance. And that is a form that we see embedded in our everyday popular culture, most centrally through the form of the late night talk show, the 1970s variety shows. This is all a part of that family tree linked to minstrelsy.
That combination of political satire, sketch comedy, and variety are most modernly recognizable on Saturday Night Live.
The show has evolved over the years and has long been a place for edgy and thought-provoking racial commentary.
Okay, the answer there. They out here saying that every vote counts. Oh, Doug again.
What is, come on, they already decided who wins even before it happens.
Yes! 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 And the Illuminati figured that out months ago. That's another one for Doug.
But it's also come under fire for its use of race-changing makeup and lack of diversity on and off stage.
SNL got a lot of criticism around 2010, 2011, because Obama had become president and there was no one to play Michelle Obama. So that was a glaring sort of issue on their part. The people who are writing the comedy, the material for whatever show, that factors into it. So if you have no Black writers in your writing room, you may not have someone there to say, hey, doing that blackface sketch is not okay.
When it comes to inclusion and diversity, other influential comedy institutions like The Simpsons have decided to stop casting white actors in non-white voice roles outright, after years of controversy surrounding Hank Azaria's portrayal of Indian shopkeeper Apu. Azaria offered to stop voicing Apu in 2018 and formally stepped back from the role in February 2020.
Really, the most important thing is to have diverse leadership at the top, because again, those are the people that are making the decisions that can say, this is the best person to voice this role, or this is the best person to play this role. And ideally, you would have a wide range of people to look at for a particular part.
To presume that all Black actors are going to be able to identify with a particular Black character actually does a disservice to thinking about the varied ways in which Blackness manifests itself. On the other hand, there is a shared condition that marginalized communities experience with one another that lends itself to being able to provide a kind of nuance and hopefully and ideally greater care when it comes to performing a particular role.
So how can shows or performers who push boundaries and inform social commentary while making you laugh keep themselves accountable? By addressing it in the open.
One really good example is Sarah Silverman. She had a sketch where she wore full blackface makeup. She sort of had an evolution in how she responded to criticism.
I did an episode where I wore blackface. The context was, irrelevant because it's not okay to do blackface, ever. I've been disgusted by it for a long time now, and I am so sorry to anyone who saw it and was cut by it. I feel immense remorse. This is not damage control. I was not caught. I mean, this was on television. It had to go through many filters, which in itself is proof that, we need to diversify our filters. And that's not to say that people of color should be in positions of power just to correct white people's worst instincts. It has to be my job to realize when I've contributed to a history of the degradation of an entire race of people.
These kinds of structures have been long-standing, and generationally they keep reproducing themselves by way of, consumers who then become artists themselves and writers themselves and stand-ups themselves. And so this is a chance to make a really hard pivot and produce new culture that a new generation can digest.